Trainer Joe, Jillian Michaels, very recently went on Jubilee's Surrounded.
Yeah.
And she went head to head. It's a very, is combative too strong a word? I mean, you watched the...
They seem to keep it from going too far off the rails. They seem to have some mechanism to help it keep that from happening.
Which is probably good because you can tell...
Yeah, you want to be able to talk.
These people are coming from vastly different places and they're debating.
Good for them.
Yeah, they're debating it's the body positivity, and you got all these guys and girls, excuse me, that are in that camp versus Jillian Michaels, who's here to push back on it, and there were some good takeaways.
Yeah, she's stands against this healthy at any size. Some want to sound healthy at any size. We're here to try to help people because it's like in the long run, if body positivity is going to actually help people, then I think we're going to be for it. But if it's actually hurting people, if it is, and we can debate that, but wouldn't it make sense to stand against it if ultimately it's hurting people? So that's what we're trying to decide.
What we're trying to get to the bottom of. Trainer Joe being a health and weight loss pro.
Should we support that or should we stand against the body positivity movement?
Here's a little bit of their intro clip for their video.
Would you say that it should be against the law to discriminate against people based on their body size?
Unquestionably.
So why don't we see more fitness and wellness advocates asking for that?
I'm happy to ask for it. Ask for it right now. I didn't know that you thought I wasn't for it.
I wasn't allowed to have a ding dong. When I came home and I said, I want ding dongs in my lunch. You know what my mom bought me? Low-fat ding dongs. Maybe there's more to life than trying to lose weight. That's what body positivity has given me.
You have to love yourself. You have to invite love into the space.
How?
By looking at yourself in the mirror and telling yourself, I'm beautiful.
It's not gonna work, kid.
It does
That's
work.
an SNL skit.
Are Americans fat phobic and obsessed with unrealistic beauty standards? Or has the body positivity movement normalized unhealthy habits and lifestyles? I'm John Regalado, and today we're gonna have a debate about what it means to be healthy.
I like it, the debate of what it means to be healthy. We got our first clip that we actually want to discuss here, but any other thoughts so far?
You know, she said, there's more to life than trying to lose weight. And I think that's a big part of this. People that are in support of the body positivity many times are like, my life is not going to be constantly trying to lose weight. That is not, I refuse to live that life. So then you have to position yourself in a place to make that make sense. See, and that's the thing. Can I make sense of doing this in a way that part of the culture says this is ridiculous? And that's, we're going to come from this is ridiculous. I mean, we're on the part of this is ridiculous to come from these positions, right? One lady said, please, Jillian, don't use the O word. And I hadn't heard that. Don't use the O word.
Obesity?
Obese. And so what came out of this group was they don't, now speaking for all of them, they don't like the O word. They would rather hear that fat than obese.
Really?
Yeah, it came out and it kind of caught me. It's like we got to keep up with this stuff, which I'm not overly interested in doing because I don't think ultimately this is helpful. So one lady said the body positivity is helping me. We want diet culture to go away. So we got to say, well, what does that mean? Because there was a story, and I thought it was a fascinating one. It was, Jillian said, a kid came on her show with her dad, and the kid, he was 18. They both lost 100 pounds. They came home, and when they entered the house,
What show?
The Biggest Loser.
Okay.
Yeah, Biggest Loser. She said it came home. They came home and opened the door. The mom began to cry, and they were not tears of joy. They were tears of abandonment. She felt abandoned by them because we were kind of in this together. And that happens, and it's like, so we want to create this organization, this team, this group that says we are all together. We're fine. We're okay. We don't need to change. We don't need to feel pressure. We need to embrace ourselves, love our bodies. What's wrong with that? Mm-hmm. What's wrong with that? Do we have a problem with that? Of course, Jillian had a problem with that. And she laid it out. This extra fat on your body is hurting you.
Could they not, could these advocates not come to terms with that? Just with
Correct.
that concept
There was an
alone?
argument that no, it's not. You can't say being overweight is unhealthy. And I think she handled it quite well. Said, yes, it is. And they even had a fact check over on the side, and it said, there is no argument. having this excess fat on your body is unhealthy. So the real question is not that. I mean, there is a small contingency trying to say it's not unhealthy to be obese. That doesn't go very far.
Even these, what we would consider these activists, kind of radicals, you're saying that they really were still pushing that narrative that it wasn't unhealthy to be.
Oh yes, there's definitely a segment that says
obese.
it's not even unhealthy to be 500 pounds. So I don't think we really need to address that because I think it's a small enough group.
There's more nuance here that maybe is more debatable. Well, let's play our first. Let's play a clip here.
The bigger question is that one said it's more unhealthy to have shame.
There we go.
Than it is to be overweight.
And that, because the other one, I'm sorry, but it's just objective. It is.
Right.
If you're 400 pounds, 300 pounds, and you should be 150, that is unhealthy. Even though some of these people would disagree. Like,
right.
That's just. But to go.
We don't feel the need to have that argument.
But the girl had talked about the shame aspect, and that can be debated. Is it?
Yes.
More well if you're living with this burden of shame,
right?
Go ahead and just be yourself, be obese, and that actually is healthier.
Right.
You got any thoughts on that before we play?
There's something to that, right? Because if we're always agonizing, there is something negative about that.
Trainer Joe shows a little sympathy?
A little sympathy. So the question is how to stop agonizing. And I think that some would say in the more woke, and is it fair to say it's more woke?
Oh, he went
This
there.
is a more woke.
We don't like the W word.
I would say it is, but you can debate a different debate. So, yes, I don't want anybody to feel bad. Do you? Do you want people to feel bad because they are whatever they are? Shame? Should we ever feel a need to change? And I think that's what they're saying is you feeling a need to be different is unhealthy. I think that's what we're dealing with. If you feel that there's a need for you to be something other than you are,
then what comes most
that's
naturally?
Unhealthy. Yeah, then what comes most naturally? Because what comes most naturally is probably who you're really meant to be, so embrace that. Don't try to be something different. We disagree with that. And I think you're going to have to come to terms with, because I think what we're trying to do is put fat in a special category instead of it's just something else. We all have things we're dealing with. And I think oftentimes we want to take the thing we're dealing with, whether it's alcohol or lust or overeating or gambling, and we want to turn that into, now this one is different than everybody else's issue. Let's treat it different. And I think for in a lot of ways it's not different.
Yeah, it's taking something too far.
It's another thing.
It's
a
you
challenge.
put any of those other things, and some of them society still deems unacceptable.
Right.
But there's a couple that society's okay.
We're embracing more of it, right?
And that's why we're having the debate.
You got to decide.
Let's play this clip.
I have lived in a fat body for as long as I can remember. And I've known very many fat people. And I don't think any of us, the people that I know, I can only speak to the people that I know, I don't think any of us are pretending that we're okay with it. What I want to say here is I live with autoimmune disorders, I live with chronic illness, and I'm also neurodivergent. And this is, the body positivity movement has made it so that I can tolerate this life. I can find ways to thrive, even still. But I'm not pretending that this doesn't bother me. And by bother, I mean that it doesn't hurt to carry my weight. I'm willing to concede with you that carrying around extra weight is harder. It is. But it must be done.
I don't know that I agree with you.
Okay. Tell me more, please.
Well, tell me why you think it must be done.
Because I've worked really hard.
This burden is something that I must carry.
It must be done.
It must be done.
It must be done.
And she started it fascinating the way that certain individuals think. I've lived in this fat body. It's almost like detaching.
Right. It wasn't my choice.
That detachment. It's not who I am. It's a burden that I've had to carry.
Ooh, and trying to figure that out because I think there is an identity issue here. And that's the thing. It's like, are you upset about this? What makes you upset about this? Because we allow the culture to determine how we should feel. Because it's like, hey, this shouldn't be happening to me. Well, how much control do you have over what happens to you?
Very little.
Very little or none. So what are you going to do about that? You don't get to control that. And I think that's what people are trying to do. I want to control how people treat me. And I don't think we get that luxury. You don't get to do that. Nope. You don't get to do that. You get to control your response. That's it. We get to control our response. And I think that's where this is missing it. You don't get to control how anybody treats you. That is just reality. Am I wrong there? Can we start with that?
I think it's a great place to start.
Can you walk away from them? Yes. That's it. There you go. So deal with it. You have a problem of eating too much. You hate me for saying that. Sorry. But if you feel like there's nothing I can do about it, then there's nothing you can do about it. And if you're going to say, leave me alone because there's nothing I can do about it, go do your thing. Don't sit here and be upset that other people are saying, yes, there is something. Go do your thing. But if you're one of those that needs to hear and wants to hear, this is possible, I can do this, then come on aboard, because that's who we are.
Yeah.
We believe it can be done. We're with Jillian on this. I'm sure there's things we disagree with her about.
We've made a few Jillian videos, and we tend to be pretty.
We tend to. There's things I've seen her do and say that I'm like, that would not the way I would do it. But in this area, we agree. You do have an ability to make changes in this area, even though it's probably harder for you than some. Things are more difficult for you to understand. And one lady said, this doesn't make sense to me. And Jillian said, it doesn't have to. And see, that's another thing. It doesn't have to make sense for it to work. And a lot of people think, if this doesn't make sense to me, I refuse.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I will not go to bed hungry. Okay. And she said, rightly so, you have to choose which one essentially is more important to you. Right? How this makes me feel, or losing the weight. And you do get to decide that.
I'm curious your thoughts. After watching the video, did you feel like there were any moments from the activist side, from Jillian's side, where just like a nugget was spoken and there was a little bit of receptiveness? Ever? Or are we so far apart and so hardened in our own beliefs?
Man, it's so unusual to see somebody receive something and change that it's almost difficult for me to say I think anything was accomplished. Because I think people are so closed off. And even when we're talking, I'm like, I'm always thrilled when we get these positive responses, because I'm like, I know there's a good sized group that disagrees with us. And so it's so exciting to me that people can come to our channel and decide if this is going to work for them or not, if they like what we're saying or not, if they feel like we're telling them the truth or not, and they can stay. I love that.
Yeah.
Because there's a group that we're speaking to, and they're like, these guys get it. They get it. I'm going to listen. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because I know it's possible, and I'm finally getting some reinforcement of the truth. Yeah, it's hard. Nobody wants to feel bad. Shame is when you feel that you are bad. You're believing you are bad instead of I did bad. You know, you can own that. People say, I can't get on the scale. It makes me feel bad. Okay, that is on you. You have to have the ability to distinguish when I stand on the scale, it tells me how much I weigh, not how much I'm worth. You've got to get to the place where you can do that, or you're always, I can't do it. Leave me alone. I don't want to think about it. Okay, we do that with weight, but we would frown on doing it with other things. Leave me alone. I can't help but drink. I can't help but gamble. I can't help but spend money. I can't help but you name it. And we want to put our thing in a category that says it's not as bad as when I see other people do it or the other things they have. They're all the same. They're all the same. If you're going to be guided by your feelings, you're going to be an addict. You've got to decide, my will is not a servant to my feelings. And as hard as that is, we've got to be willing to go through a process that is uncomfortable.
Assuming that the majority of the people that were overweight on that panel had issues similar to this girl. She mentioned like 3 of them.
Yeah.
I don't even understand what some of them are, but different health issues that have made her journey
autoimmune diseases,
impossible.
Different things.
Her journey impossible. Now it's just her burden to bear. Assuming most of them had those type of issues, do you have any sympathy for that?
Let's look at that. If someone came to me and I knew that it was not possible for them to do whatever something they're trying to do, how should I treat them? Well, if they're wanting to stop smoking and for whatever reason they can't, do I reject them? And when somebody says, well, that's different than eating, I don't think so. Yes, you have to eat, but you don't have to have a second helping. And you can say, well, that's unfair, because one lady said it's wrong. One of the people on there said it's unethical for me to tell someone they should lose weight. It's unethical to encourage somebody to lose weight. I'm looking for that.
Unethical.
Don't encourage weight loss. It is unethical. One of them said that. It is unethical to encourage weight loss. And why do you think they say that? It's unethical to encourage someone you should lose weight.
I guess if you're in the mindset that it's a burden that it's out of your control.
Right, if it's out of your control. If it's out of your control, it's unfair for someone to say anything about it to you. Your height. Mm-hmm. That is unkind to say something about somebody's height, because it's nothing they can control. And there's lots of things that are unkind to say, even if it is something you can control. But we have to get to the place to where we can accept this is something I can control and not get offended or triggered when somebody mentions something. Own it. Yes, this is something I'm working on. Why does it have to be so devastating? And if anybody says anything, if this comes up, oh, I will. Hey, you got a problem. See, I think that's pride. If anybody brings this up, and I remember listening to A.W. Tozer, he said, when we pray, we're confessing to God our weakness, and I'm this, and I can't do that. But if somebody else says it, how dare you say that I can't do this, or that I'm less than, or that I have a problem? We get all upset if somebody accuses us of having any kind of a problem, because I don't have any problems. Why not? Why don't you have any problems that you need to work on? Are you really that good and that perfect? No, we got problems. And nobody wants to make their problem the big, ugly thing that it is. But, okay, ignore it then and embrace it and stay the way you are, but quit complaining and trying to say it's good.
That's good, Trainer Joe. I'd be curious, you guys, like, just based on that clip alone, the clip of the girl speaking, Jillian Michaels disagreed with her when she said it is so interesting. She started it with, I don't like this being heavier, but it's my reality and there's nothing I can do to change it. What are your thoughts on that?
Did you see the one girl? I mean, she's really the most passionate and about bringing the Twinkies home. And my mom brought Twinkies home, and it was a low-calorie Twinkie, a low-fat Twinkie. Yeah. As if my mother was the worst mother who ever lived.
Oh, you can tell
of that.
there's...
It's okay.
They may not speak anymore.
What's going on here?
You could feel the resentment.
Should we focus on how evil the mother was there, or that mom is trying to help her daughter lose weight? I don't know how horrible she is. How do you win with that? How do you help your child? That's a whole other topic. Should we talk about that?
That's a whole
your child?
other topic.
What are you doing to help or hurt your kids?
That puts parents in a tough spot, because you saw how that woman
she
reacted.
She was not happy with Mama.
Tough, dude.
For not giving her the real ding dong.
I don't envy that
she
mom.
wanted the real ding dongs
Ding-dongy.
that was in aluminum foil. Her friends knew, oh, your mom's making you eat low-fat ding dongs.
That would stink a little bit.
How is it possible not to treat this kind of light, let's have fun with it, because it is what it is? Do we really need to be so careful that nobody can say a word? We can't say the O word. We can't say the F word. We can't say anything. Everybody stay exactly the way they are. Is that what we're after here? Nobody needs to change anything about anything. I think that's not
at some point,
what we're after.
At some point, that ideology is going to reach a breaking point, and I think it is.
It's getting there, isn't it?
I think it is.
Let's stop being so stupid.
We see how.
Now, having said that, can we lack empathy? Yes. Can we lack being kind and loving to someone that's in a hard place? Yes. Yes. Do people do that? Yes. And some of y'all are out there. I've seen them. I've seen them out there, Paul.
None of your audience.
None of our audience, though. Some of those other audiences and YouTubers. But no. So, yes, you can be that way. And accuse us all the time you want to, but no, I don't believe that's what we're about it anyway. We want people to have hope, and I think that this industry removes hope. It's a hope-removing industry. The body positivity, it takes away hope. Stay the way you are and be happy to die 20 years young. Too young.
Oof. Guys, comment below. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know how you felt like our approach and response to this video was. Too savage or right on? What do you think of this guy, huh? He's something. He's something.
Right on, baby. Come on. Anybody... What have I said that anybody can disagree with?
There you go, in the comments
What
section.
have I said that anyone can disagree with in this video?
He welcomes the dialogue.
Anything. I'd love
All
to
right,
hear
guys. Until our next video, we enjoy doing these reaction videos, and we will do more of them. Let us know your thoughts on when we react to these type of videos. Till our next video, Trainer Joe, train your brain.
And transform your body.